So if you want to make some changes to your whole business or make some new innovation or improvement, they help a lot if you have those, under control and well documented and very clear and revised.
Welcome to Process Pioneers, the show that takes a deep dive into the minds of decision makers, key influencers, and process experts who are pioneering the world of everything process.
Well, welcome to another episode of Process Pioneers. Today I have the absolute privilege of sitting down with Naseem Ahmed. He is a business process expert and has been over the last 20 plus years. He's worked in some of the largest organisations in Australia. Naseem, thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Now, what we might do to begin with is I'll get you to, give us a little bit more of an introduction in terms of your background and your history, just so the people listening have a bit of a grid, a bit of a framework for who you are, and maybe starting off with where that interest for processes first came from.
Okay, my working career started with Qantas airline long time ago. And then I did further study in manufacturing engineering. And in my manufacturing engineering, I dealt a lot with flexible manufacturing and manufacturing process. And that's where I find myself more interested in process. And that started from my manufacturing, engineering journey a long time ago. And then I saw the process is basically everywhere. It's not just manufacturing. So I fell in love with the process. So my very first project was re-engineering a machine workshop process and layout in Qantas.
Right.
That was probably 30 years ago with a consulting group called Cooper and Lybrand. Long time ago from Canada, they came and I worked with them. And then slowly after a few years, I did further study on engineering management, where I had major study in business process improvement and process innovation, human aspects of business process improvement, all the relevant topics. And then I did further study in Six Sigma, Green Belt, Black Belt, all these process management and improvement tools. So I'm fully into this process since then. It's been 20 years. I've been doing quite a few process improvement projects. Yeah.
Right. Now you've obviously, having worked in a number of different and quite large organisations, I'm sure you've seen process management and improvement done well, and I'm sure you've seen process management not done well. So talk to me a bit about, what are the right ingredients when an organisation is embarking on a BPM project? What are the right ingredients that need to come together to make sure that project's a success?
One comes to my mind is if we can have a process ownership, that would help. I have seen very little so far in the most organization I've worked in, but there's been some talk. And then is process documentation, clarification, and revise. At the same time, when you talk revise, that is process improvement. When you revise the process, you see process improvement and you do continuous improvement. So that's what that's what I say.
Yeah, okay, great. Yeah. And now there's obviously a difference between documenting your processes and improving your processes, because some organisations, they do that step one, they document their processes, but they never actually get around to improving on them.
Yes.
And so their processes collect dust and just sit there. So talk to us a little bit about, the value and the importance of not just documenting, but that continuous improvement.
First, I would like to say the reason I think behind that is most of the organization is not process-oriented. They are skill-oriented, departmental-oriented. So that's why they do deal with process, but they document, then they shelve it, and that's it. Wow. And some of the industry take some initiative, create a group of process improvement, and they do it for a number of projects maybe. and then they shelve it again. So it becomes like a dust, collecting dust stuff. They document it. They probably implement a couple of them, and then it just goes in the thin air. I have seen that as well in most large organization. Because there's probably reason for it. The management of those large organizations, the managers, they have other priorities because they're running operation. So that's why I said at the beginning, these organizations are not process oriented. They're business management oriented. So the focus is comes from the top. How is your department going? How is everyone performing in their task? But nobody asks how is the process performing. What process? Because it's not. Because the organizations are not structured with process. It's a different structure. So that's why I think, it does get lost quite often, although we see a lot of, process improvement initiative comes in and it goes out again. I've seen that a number of times,
Yeah, okay. And talk to us a little bit about like the incremental improvements versus radical innovation. Like obviously when you're working on processes, you can be making those day-to-day iterative like changes, and then in other cases and for some organizations, they just bring a team together on a project, an individual project where they're looking at a process, looking to take it from something that takes 45 days down to 17 or whatever it is. So talk to us a little bit about where incremental improvements play a part and then where radical innovation plays a part.
I've seen both. I've been in both. Incremental is you always deal with, and you have like a quality person. Usually they employ, that's the oldest style. They don't call process improvement, especially they do it now. And he looks at individual, I would say process or activities and try improve as much as possible every now and then. I've seen that through most organizations. And on the other side, I have also seen some radical business process re-engineering as well. I've been involved in a few of them. For example, I did in one of my organization a process lean practice lean, and one I have to be careful what I say because I don't want to mention who it is. So one process of repairing a part or overhauling a part was taking up to 6 months. And then when I mapped the whole thing and I saw just one single element waiting for a part is causing the biggest delay. So then I changed the parts ordering management on that, and that helped a lot. It saved nearly 200 days lead time. Similarly, another one we saw to fix a big part, it takes up to 18 days. And after fixing some of the location of some of the repair station, it came down to 3 days. So I've seen those sort of things as well. It happens. But again, if you don't keep revising those culture and process and those people and those technology, they all goes together, it gets lost a little bit. And I have seen that as well.
Yeah. I think that visibility, it's so important, because if you don't know that where the bottleneck is, or where the part in the process that's really delaying the entire process, then you can't make those improvements.
No. Yeah.
So obviously, when getting buy-in from the organisation, you need to get that buy-in from the senior management, that exec level. Talk to us a bit about, I guess, what are they looking for? Because obviously, I guess they would be looking, where's the ROI, where's the return on investment there, where's the value, where's the immediate value, how long is it going to be until I can see a bit of return? Talk to us a bit about, I guess, liaising with or pitching to senior management a BPM project or exercise, and I guess the way that you would go about doing that.
You do initial like a business case, and put the effort and that goes, and initial findings, and but from that findings you kind of project what can be improved in short term and long term, and put forward those items to senior management, and try to put some values or some time saving, and that's how we get the sponsorship. And then in terms of doing it, you have to work with the people on the floor and get their buy-in, which is more important, because you can commit, you can say you can do this, and they might say yes, go ahead. And to do this, that is the challenge. You'll find people, they're not buying you, they're not hearing you, they're not understanding you, you're not understanding them, you misunderstood them, and they misunderstanding you. So you talk different language. You're talking, for example, in one occasion, I was mentioning about tech time, which is a big thing in lean manufacturing, and this guy. I can say that in hospital, okay? As a doctors, they don't understand tech time. You have to, dilute your language. You have to, explain. So you have to change your language as well. That's how you do it.
Right. And I'd imagine that's part of like discovery sessions and trying to understand processes and
understand the people and understand their language, understand how they behave, so you can penetrate into them. Yeah.
Right. And what are some of the objections and the resistance that you face? Let's start with that senior management level. When you are trying to pitch the idea and get that sponsorship, what are some of the objections that you might come across when talking with senior management?
Senior management wants things usually very quick. And they want things in their ways. They have a KPI for their, I would say, for their own private, personal, maybe KPI, and they have too much focus on that. But when you start explaining that this is the KPI for the business, we can improve this, they don't see the alignment sometimes. That's one. So you have to align those yourself, and that's one of the challenge with the senior management. And time, yes, time limits is another one. They want things pretty quick within their maybe financial year or that sort of thing. Also, when you have some challenges that may put some risk on your work, they often want to overlook that. They think that you have considered everything. So that's why risk management is a big thing when you commit something.
Right.
And I had that incident once. I was doing something and I didn't realize that this thing will not run on Windows 7. It needs Windows XP. It needs Windows 7. And I didn't even realize that it will take another 6 months to get the Windows 7. And then when I went back to them, I said, sorry, I can't implement this because for this I need Windows 7. And it was very hard to convince them. Although it was fact, but once you have committed to them the timeline to reconvince them, it is very hard, yeah.
Yes, yep. Now there are some organisations out there that their BPM efforts are very much on a project-to-project level, on a project-to-project basis. They're not doing anything really, I guess, the BAU processes, the everyday processes, the enterprise-wide processes. Talk to us a bit about, I guess, enterprise architecture and whether that is a strategic tool that management should be looking at.
Are you talking about internal consultant group that they do this only? Something
talking a bit about like within the organisation, their focus on process management. They just bring teams together for one-off like projects and things like that, and they're not really they haven't really mapped out or modeled the business processes on an enterprise-wide level. It's just the processes to start this project from the start, get to the end. Yeah,
I have seen that in one organization in particularly. What happened in there? They came and they went. So this group came and did some nice projects, and then they went, and everything again lost in thin air because the whole business structure and the all levels of process was not documented completely.
Right.
That's why they did some good job, and then it was working well for a number of years. And then it kind of got lost the focus because they're gone. That's what I've seen, yeah.
Right. And the other half of that question was talking about BPM as a strategic tool. Obviously, that's something that the exec level, the CXO, that they're looking at the strategy, the overall vision. Does BPM play a part as a strategic tool?
I think so, yeah. If we can link the actual output of those process, yes, definitely. You can see which process is the most value to your business, and then if you want to do something and how they link together. So if you want to make some changes to your whole business or make some new innovation or improvement, they help a lot if you have those, under control and well documented and very clear and revised. Absolutely, yeah.
Because I think that's so important when bringing in sort of like a BPM project or exercise or framework. There needs to be that buy-in from that senior level. So I guess you need to think of it from like, well, what are they looking at? What are the questions they're going to be asking, and how can I become prepared so that I can respond to their questions before they even ask it.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so talking about the current climate that we're in at the moment, obviously with COVID-19, and it's disrupting a lot of industries, a lot of organisations. Some organisations are really suffering quite a lot in the current time, and some organisations are thriving. It's playing in their advantage, to their favour. But how does BPM play an important part at a time like this, where we've got senior management that might be freaking out, wondering what are our workforce doing? They're all working from home now. They're all working from their home offices. I can no longer just walk up to them and find out what process are you following? Are you following it correctly? Talk to us a bit about how BPM can play an important part in a time like right now.
A very interesting question. I haven't really thought lately, but it is a very right question and very valuable question. Like I said before, if you have your business all levels of process well documented and under control and revised, and you know what process doing what, then as a business owner, you can rely on it basically. So you don't have to be out and about and at office all the time. You can do remotely and go to the right people, go to the right contact for any queries that you may have, because you know your process, who is the right person to go to. You don't have to waste too much time to go to the right source of any issues or any part of the business. So it definitely does or can play a very powerful role, I think.
Yeah, great. And now obviously over the last 20 years or even longer, BPM has developed and advanced, and new methodologies are coming out, new solutions, new software, new tools, different things are coming out relating to the BPM space. What do you think the future looks like? If you're obviously thinking about what we're using now, what's happening now, I'm sure that that there are people in your sphere that are talking about what's next, what's around the corner. Talk to us a bit about what do you think the future of BPM looks like? I'm not sure if you've got any thoughts on that.
I really haven't got thoughts much, but I saw your question before. I think one big element will make it more powerful is if we can bring a process ownership model within BPN. Maybe they already have it. I haven't seen it. That's one vision I have, and based on that, org structure. It can be part of BPM or probably is as well. So that's what I am looking at the moment.
Yes. Okay, great. And for someone listening right now that maybe they're coming from an organisation where they don't have a very mature BPM framework in place, but the person that's listening, maybe they want to approach senior management, they really want to push this, but I guess they're still at the start of their learning journey. When someone wants to learn more about BPM, obviously there's the whole internet, but sometimes when you go on the internet, it can be a little bit overwhelming because there's a lot of different thoughts, a lot of different opinions, a lot of different perspectives. In BPM, there's a lot of different mindsets and methodologies and things like that. So talk to us a bit about where you would begin. If someone came to you and they were like, Naseem, I want to learn more about BPM. I think it's going to be add a lot of value to my organisation or the organisation I'm working for. Where should I begin?
Well, there are a number of formal trainings, such as the Six Sigma training courses. They are a good start. You don't have to have a formal university degree to learn this, and you can do that. And you don't have to be an engineer to do that either. So you can be from any part of your education and do some Six Sigma training. That would be a start. And then traditional business process engineering, all the tools that it's like you said, it's in the internet. There is so much, and then there's a lot of online and other training organization offering so many things on BPM. But if you ask me, my most favorite, my dream, what if I could, I would do. In America, in Dallas, they have a Pritchett consulting group. They run a process improvement 5-day workshop. Cost about $6,000, but you have to have your accommodation as well if you want to go from here. So that would be a interesting one, and they have a very good package of tools that you can learn and practice there in their workshops and apply to your business. But I have read their books. One of my favorite book is from Ramler and Bresh, Gary Ramler and someone Bresh. They are big body in process improvement. So that would be my ideal at the moment, to get trained on business process improvement.
Yeah. Okay. Great. And it certainly sounds like, there's a certain personality or certain type of person that really, I guess, already has that process-centric mind or that process-centric outlook or lens. Wherever they, I guess, begin their journey, if that's the way they look at things, they're always looking to improve things. They're always looking to optimize things. They're always looking at the processes. Would you say that there are some people that it clicks with more than others, and for others it's something that maybe doesn't come natural?
Some with clicks more than others. It comes a little bit natural, I think, because when I deal with people, it's not that I'm proud of it, but I see things very quickly. It goes into a pattern, like a process and pattern. Even when I see a house, I see, this is number one, number two is sitting, and this is the furniture. It's just like it's a pattern, and that's very similar to a process, like a sequential thing. And it's my natural look of anything. When I drive on the road, I see things, I think, oh, this should be before that, and this should be after that, would have been better.
Right.
It just comes to my mind in a natural way. That's why I love dealing with process and dealing with restructuring things and make it easier and better. So, but again, I learned it as well. It's not that you can't learn it. With number of tools and the training that I had, it's a bit of both.
Yes, yeah. And I would say that the BPM community, the community that that is involved with process management, process improvement, these areas, they're quite a passionate and I guess supportive group of people. There's a lot of events happening. There's a lot of meetups. I mean, obviously outside of COVID-19, there's a lot of different online forums and things like that where people that are passionate about this space, they want to share, like yourself. They want to share that knowledge, to collaborate, to educate, because you might be a process pioneer in one organisation, but what another organisation is going through might be completely different and something that you've never tackled before, and so I think there's a lot of value in connecting with one another, with connecting with the other process managers, process specialists, process experts, because everyone's going through different situations and scenarios. So I think that'll be quite valuable.
Yeah, well, I had that experience recently in one organization. They're saying they're actually documenting some of the process, and they're kind of saying they're process oriented. But when I worked there, they're more of innovation. Like they see something and they do something. If they say, "Oh, that company is doing this, let's do this."
Right.
They're not really deep into process, because process analysis and improvement takes a bit longer than just seeing and doing.
Right.
Yeah, so I have seen that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, we can only cover so little in the space of half an hour, in 30 minutes, and obviously, we're just scraping the surface of what we can talk about. But I'm sure that the people listening have gleaned a lot from our conversation today. I know that people are going to go away from this with thinking about new ideas, and I'm sure new topics, and it'll spark conversation, which I think is the ultimate goal, that these interviews are going to spark that ongoing conversation. So Naseem, I just want to thank you for joining me and for sharing your knowledge and for sharing your experiences. I'm sure people are going to walk away with a lot of value. So yeah, thanks for joining me.
Thank you.